Hello and welcome to Sideline Story, your destination for sports news, analysis and discussions. I'm Yang Guang. This week we look at the highlighting moments at ongoing Milano-Cortina Olympic Winter Games. What's the most thrilling action in Italy? How has Team China performed? To unpack the questions, I'm joined here with my fantastic co-hosts Tian Yu and Brandon Yates. All right. The 2026 Milano-Cortina Olympic Winter Games are generating some exciting moments. Beyond the medals, the Winter Olympics are about those, breathtaking flashes of human achievement. So,
Yes.
Can you, what's one specific action or, highlight from these Winter Olympics has truly captivated you so far?
Well, yeah, for me, the biggest highlight definitely has to be in skiing. And honestly, I think a lot of Chinese fans probably feel the same way as me because all eyes are on our star athlete Gu Ailing. This is a huge stage for her, especially considering the fact that she's been through a lot. I mean, she's just coming back from a concussion and a clavicle fracture. And because of that, she had to pull out of the Harbin Asian Winter Games. And on top of that, she's an Olympic gold medalist. So, I mean, the pressure on her is just so different from the other players. And in the women's free ski slope style qualification, things didn't start well for her. I mean, she fell on her first jump and scored like only 1.26 points. And as a fan of her, and at that time, my first reaction was actually, pretty calm because I told myself, it's okay because, considering the fact that she's been through everything this year, you really have to cut her some slack. And I know, and she's a human being, and mistakes can happen on her. But then what came next was just incredible. I mean, that first fall didn't seem to affect her at all. She reset almost immediately, came back strong in the second round, and delivered a really convincing performance to finish second and advance. So that kind of response says a lot about her mindset. And after the qualification, she said something that really stuck with me. I mean, she talked about how this reminded her of Beijing 2022, falling early and then having to deliver the best of herself when there's no room left for error. And she joked that maybe she just likes pressure and that she always makes things harder for herself instead of taking the easy way. But she also said that being able to adjust your mindset at the very last moment is extremely difficult. And that's part of the Olympic spirit. And honestly, for me personally, I really envy that mindset because, I don't have a great competition mindset. And I know how hard it is to recover mentally when you make some mistakes. For me, even messing up in a FIFA game can really, give me a hard time and can ruin my mood for the whole day. So watching Gu stay calm, reset, and just still perform at the highest level, that's something we need to really learn from her. Pressure management and mindset and all of it. And of course, I mean, credit where credit is due. Mathilde Grimaud was amazing in that final, and she absolutely deserved that gold medal. And I actually think that her performance pushed Gu to bring the best version of herself, and that's elite competition doing what it's supposed to do.
Right. I really like Gu Ailing's attitude towards the game. It's like, okay, I did my best.
Yeah.
I performed my best moves. Then what happened.
Yes.
The silver medal doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just be it. It reminds me of the mindset of Novak Djokovic in tennis.
Yes.
Dealing with the pressure.
Yeah.
He's very good at that. And Gu Ailing did similar things this time at the Winter Olympics. Brandon, any sports moment that has captured your attention so far this time in Italy?
Yeah, first I want to touch on a couple of things you guys said. I mean, I think, Yang Guang, I definitely echo your sentiment there, where I think, Gu Ailing is just to be so young and have gone through so much, and just the spotlight that's on her is just so crazy. I can't think of many female athletes recently, besides our favorite tennis player that we won't mention today because we mention it too often. But that just has such a spotlight of over 2 billion people that are rightfully expecting a lot from her, but like in a positive way. But even when it is a positive focus, it's still a spotlight that I think
Yeah.
that many people will never get to comprehend. And, Tianyu, the things that you mentioned that she's gone through recently, the concussion and clavicle injuries, I mean, those are horrific injuries and are so
Yeah.
difficult to bounce back from. And to then go onto this stage where your entire country and the whole world is watching you and is expecting so much from you, and to go out and absolutely do your best, that is so much more than talent. I saw a picture of Enzo Fernandez recently that has a tattoo, the footballer that has a
Yeah.
tattoo on his, I think on his rib cage that says mindset is everything. Going back to what you also said, Yang Guang, Novak Djokovic is such a great example of that, and so is Carlos Alcaraz. We're not supposed to talk about tennis, but I'll quickly touch on it. That final between Alcaraz and Djokovic in Australia, just seeing how someone so inexperienced up against someone that is so experienced, and where kind of mindset I think was the defining factor in that final victory, and also the way Alcaraz was also able to overcome who's the
Alexander
German
Zverev.
Yeah, Zverev.
yeah, Zverev. Yeah. That was also because Zverev also should have. I'm not going to talk about it, but anyway, those were very good examples of mindset, and I think Gu Ailing is also just a fantastic example of that. And I think she's going to. She definitely should hold her head high,
Yeah.
extremely high. And I think that the sky really is the limit for her, and I think she's going to come back even stronger. And I think that to even get there and perform the way that she did, I think is worth its weight in gold, excuse the pun. She's also now set a fantastic precedent for the remainder of the games and for all other Chinese athletes to say that no matter what you're going through, go out there, do your best, have the mindset of not being concerned with what people are saying and who's watching, etc., etc. Just go out there and show the world what you know you can do. And I think Gu Ailing is a fantastic example of that. And wow, what a national treasure she is.
Right. We have seen some fierce competition so far. For me, the most thrilling action came from figure skating. American figure skater Ilya Mananin absolutely stunned me when he did a back flip on the ice during the team event competitions. I mean, I've never seen something like that before.
Yeah.
So powerful, yet so beautiful with those acrobatic moves. I haven't followed men's figure skating for quite some time, so after watching that, I was totally stunned. I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe how the sport has evolved over the years.
Yeah.
Later, I checked online and found out the International Skating Union had banned that move, the backflip action, before, but now it's allowed. Though it doesn't add points to the performer's overall marks.
Is it
That
because
action,
it's too dangerous or?
yeah, due to its risks to
Oh.
the athlete's safety.
Yeah.
But that's just the previous laws and rules. Now it's allowed. But that action really is mind-blowing and
Yeah.
eye-opening to me, and I believe everyone watching that match. Such an iconic moment. Now, switching to Team China's performance in Italy, it's been a fascinating mix of established prowess and new breakthroughs.
Yes.
Tianyu, what's your overall take on their journey so far? Are there any particular successes or surprises that stand out for you?
Well, overall, I'd say it's quite satisfying because, starting with Gu Ailing again, coming off major injuries and still managing to win a silver medal. Like Brandon said, she can, held her head high and just walk away because it's already a big statement. And also in figure skating, we also need to give a lot of respect to Sui Wenjing because she completed the journey while injured and reportedly had multiple pain relief injections before the games. So even though she and her partner player Han Tong didn't deliver their best performance, just being able to skate under those conditions deserves a lot of credit from us. And in snowboarding, like we know, Su Yiming won China's first medal of these games in the men's big air. That was a big moment. And like we've said in earlier episodes, I mean, China isn't a traditional winter sports powerhouse, but yet what we are seeing now is that China has really become a place where winter sports talent can grow. So at the Milan 2026, we're also seeing a new generation stepping onto the stage. 22-year-old Liu Mengting and 19-year-old Zhang Nan were impressive in women's events beyond just Gu. And Song Qiwu at 24 just delivered China's best ever Olympic result in ski jumping. So yes, I think medals matter, but the bigger picture is that our talent pool is now deeper, is younger, and more importantly, more confident than ever.
Right, I agree. What stood out for me from Team China is not just the medals and stars, but those breakthroughs in some of the sports the country had never touched on. As you said, Song Qiwu became the first Chinese athlete to break into the men's ski jumping normal hill final, eventually finishing 31st. Actually, Song used to be a 400-meter runner.
Whoa.
Before he turned to, ski jumping at the age of 17, he had never seen real snow before. Similar, breakthroughs were made in events like speed skating, 5,000 meters, luge, and snowboarding big air. They didn't win medals, but their appearance in the competition alone is success, I think. It demonstrates China's overall growth in winter sports.
Yeah.
Brandon, what do you make of Team China's outing in Milan and Cortina so far? Any eye-catching performance to you?
So I think I'm going to take a more generalistic view of it. I mean, Tian, you mentioned a couple of, stand-up performances there, but I think what's more important, and you guys have mentioned this, and I also think that it's incredibly concerning for other nations that have been traditional winter powerhouses, is that Team China's performance so far, in my opinion, definitely continues to reflect a continuation of their long-term strategy when it comes to winter sports rather than a sudden surge, even though it does feel like, for a couple of nations there, probably a sudden surge. All of a sudden they're seeing, Chinese athletes around them when they're used to seeing like Norwegians or Canadians, so they're probably a little bit concerned with the rapid growth in China's winter sports diversity. Like, it's not just one or two sports. I think it covers a couple of disciplines. And I think that from my perspective, over the past decade, as we know and we've spoken about, China has invested heavily in winter sports infrastructure. Of course, I think that was definitely supercharged by Beijing, the Winter Olympics of Beijing. And that, of course, obviously led to, heavy investment in, as Yangguang, you and I went to go visit ourselves, winter sports infrastructure, as you guys have mentioned, talent identification, and of course, international coaching, and that groundwork that we're seeing already is definitely paying dividends. I think China definitely remains particularly strong and, technically great in, like I said, technical and precision-based events. And some of you guys have already mentioned, short track speed skating, freestyle aerials. Gu Ailing, we've mentioned as well, who's also doing an incredible job as an individual. And even in events where medals aren't guaranteed, I think Chinese athletes are consistently reaching finals and posting competitive times or scores, which I think is very important at these early stages of growth, because it's showing a couple of important factors like depth rather than reliance on just one or two stars. Of course, one or two stars inevitably will emerge. Gu Ailing, of course, her name is just going to be ringing in our ears and across all, media platforms, I think, throughout this event.
Right. Another success might be off the competition when we see more Chinese elements in Italy this year. For example, Swiss freestyle skier Mathilde Grimaud, you mentioned, who defeated Gu Ailing in women's slopestyle, was found having cupping marks on her stomach during competitions. And that's traditional Chinese therapy. She revealed that she gets cupping therapy very often and said it's quite useful. This mystical Eastern therapy method is actually very popular among, the athletes from around the world now. I guess it's
Yangguang, very popular in South Africa too. A lot of the Springbok rugby players, I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, they had all of these marks on there, and we had no idea what was going on. But yeah, so cupping therapy is also very, very big in South Africa, and also with our, as I've mentioned many times, our most successful team, the Springboks, they love cupping therapy.
Yeah, I guess that's the winning formula for many strong teams across different sports now.
Yeah.
I guess it's also consistent with the trend of becoming Chinese on the internet lately, showing that Chinese way of life, Chinese way of getting therapy is now very common globally. And additionally, Chinese pianist Lang Lang at the opening ceremony of the games in the China House in Milan, which features exhibitions on Chinese sports culture and intangible cultural heritage. The Chinese elements are very easy to find at events like the Winter Olympics now. And the Winter Olympics also coincide with the Spring Festival in China this year. Yep. There must be some special activities in the Olympic Village, adding some festive atmosphere among athletes and the games. All right, before we move on, here's a quick review of the biggest sports headlines in China and around the world.
Germany's Max Langenham produced a record-breaking performance to win gold in the men's luge singles at the Milano-Cortina 2026 Olympic Winter Games. The German star set a new track record in all 4 rounds at the Cortina Sliding Center, finishing with a combined time of 3 minutes 31 seconds to secure a dominant victory. Austria's Jonas Müller took silver, while Italy's Dominik Fischneller claimed bronze.
War mir das vielleicht schon bewusst, weil ich so glaube.
Winning a medal and having a medal around your neck is the biggest honour, and to be here together with these 2 guys, the biggest thing that could ever happen to me. Of course, I'd love to have taken bronze or silver, because it's just a great moment to be around. I have a medal and be with people here. And at one point I realised, well, it could be gold.
China's Bao Zhenyu finished 24th in 2 minutes 44 seconds after 3 rounds, equaling the country's best ever Olympic result in the discipline. Only the top 20 advanced to the final round, and the 23-year-old missed out after struggling with his starting speed and transitions in his 3rd round.
I feel a bit regretful about my 3rd round. Generally, my performance was good, but there were still some mistakes. Otherwise, the result could have been better. My starting speed was slow, and body transition and track adaptation remain my weaknesses. I hope to improve on them as soon as possible in future training sessions and perform better in the next competition.
In speed skating, Liu Hanbing finished 17th in the men's 5,000 meters, marking China's best ever Olympic result in the event. The 19-year-old entered the Games in strong form after an impressive World Cup season, though his campaign was disrupted by injury at the 3rd stop of the series. He still delivered a historic finish as the first Chinese skater to compete in the event since the 2006 Turin Games. The gold medal went to Norway's Sander Eitrim, who set a new Olympic record in a commanding victory. In alpine skiing, American legend Lindsey Vonn saw her Olympic campaign end in dramatic fashion during the women's downhill. Competing with a badly injured left knee and chasing a 4th Olympic medal, the 41-year-old lost control early in her run, spun in the air, and crashed heavily onto the snow. Vonn was treated on the course before being airlifted to a hospital in Treviso, where she underwent surgery to stabilize a fracture in her left leg. The race resumed after the delay, with Breezy Johnson going on to claim gold.
Now, the Olympics always gave us, powerful narratives that transcend sport. Tianyu, has there been a particular athlete story at these games that you found uniquely inspiring or moving?
Well, I have to go back to Su Yiming. I mean, yes, he won a bronze medal in men's big air, but what really touched me was also his mindset. I mean, coming in as the defending Olympic champion, he knew this time would be a lot difficult than last time than Beijing 2022, because the field was much younger. And he had a great first round in the game, made a mistake in the second, and then stayed calm and delivered when it mattered to secure a podium spot, and completed his full set of Olympic medals. And what makes this special is the story behind it. I mean, after winning gold in Beijing 2022, Su kind of stepped away from the sport for a while because he was literally burnt out and lost some motivation. And the break actually helped him reset, and now he's back at the Olympics, still competing at highest level. But what I admire most is how he talked about the younger generation sports athletes, because most of the finalists were teenagers making their Olympic debut. And Su joked in the interview that he's now the old guy in that event.
He's just 21.
Yeah,
22.
even though he's only 21 years old, and there was no resentment at all in his remarks, just happiness. So he sounded genuinely proud that the next generation players is stepping up, is pushing the sport forward. And that kind of attitude, loving the sport more than his own status, is really inspiring to me.
Yeah, it seems like the sport of freestyle skiing has this magic. It makes you very happy. It's different from those very serious winter sports. I really like that.
Yeah.
I know there are 5 athletes from South Africa who are competing at the Winter Olympics this time. And overall, there are 15 athletes from Africa participating. I think it's a great story to tell in terms of inclusivity and the diversity in the Olympic family. It carries the Olympic spirits, the stage is for everyone who dreams it and fights for it. And another touching story I can think of is maybe Lindsey Vonn. I mentioned her last time in the last episode. She actually competed and suffered an even more serious injury this time.
Yeah.
I think she actually competed with an ACL, very serious ACL injury already.
Yeah, she broke her leg, right?
Right, a fracture, a very serious fracture. And she had to be taken out by a helicopter to the hospital. I think that's the Olympic spirit, or the spirit of all sports. She knew she couldn't win anything. She couldn't, win medals anymore, but she still decided to compete. Even knowing that it could lead to even more serious injuries.
Yes.
So, credits must be given to her.
That kind of courage,
Yeah, the mindset might be like, I will die if I have to.
Yeah.
But I have to.
But I mean, that's the issue, right? I think that's something that a lot of obsessive people grapple with. I think not just in sport, but in life in general. Like, I think a lot of people, I think a mindset is a part of it when it comes to continuing to compete, but when it gets to a point where it's dangerous or where you just feel like they don't know how to stop, I think it's a very fine line. And maybe, unfortunately, Lindsey Vonn maybe crossed that line, because I think there were just so many factors that were telling her, just don't do this. And now she's probably put herself in a lifelong, difficult situation, physically, which I think she could, at her age, struggle to recover from fully.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old Chinese saying, a soldier's wish is to die on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very brave, very brave. But meantime, we have to look at some concerning aspects at Winter Olympics with unusually warm conditions, a topic of conversation. We have to look ahead. The Winter Olympics are tied to specific climates eventually. According to reports, in order to ensure the smooth progress of the Games, organizers planned to spray roughly 50,000 cubic meters of artificial snow during the Winter Olympics this year. Although Cortina d'Ampezzo is a high-altitude region at over 1,800 meters, the organizing committee still decided that 85% of all snow required of the Games will be supplemented with artificial snow. 85%, that's huge.
Yeah.
And according to research in Canada, if current climate policies remain unchanged, only 10 out of the last 21 regions that have hosted the Winter Olympics are projected to maintain suitable snow conditions by 2050. That means half of those host cities will not be suitable for winter sports. Experts even say without artificial snow, winter sports will eventually die. So Tianyu, how significantly do you think climate change will challenge the future model of the Games?
I say the answer is pretty clearly yes, and it's already happening. I mean, many places that used to be perfect for winter sports are now, like you said, dealing with warmer temperatures and fewer freezing days. So this means less natural snow, even in places like the Alps. So because of that, organizers are being forced to rely more on artificial snow. And the problem is artificial snow isn't ideal. I mean, it's hotter and icier, and which can be, a lot riskier for athletes.
Yeah, I know athletes recently said falling onto the artificial snow is like falling to the concrete for football players. Instead, falling to the natural snow feels like football players falling to the grass.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yes, so it's the use of artificial snow it takes up a lot of energy and water, and it's just adding to the environmental cost of the games. So yeah, I think this isn't just an Italy issue. I think it's almost every past Winter Olympic host city has been, warming over time. And looking ahead, I think fewer places are going to have reliable winter conditions. So yeah, I think simply put, you can't hold the Winter Olympics without winter. And climate change is putting that future under real pressure.
Right, even Beijing is experiencing shorter winters now. The winters are definitely shrinking. Maybe someday in the future, we need to hold Winter Olympics in Antarctica. Let's see how the future of the Winter Olympics will look, but before that we have plenty of action to watch in Milan and Cortina. With that, we end this episode of Sideline Story. Thank you so much for joining us. Subscribe to Sideline Story and leave your comments wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information, you can also check our website at radio.cgtn.com. Until next time, stay on Sidelines with us.